Any type of diet like keto, Weight Watchers, intermittent fasting is going to keep you on the same hamster wheel of gaining and losing the same 25 pounds over and over and over again. So you can join the statistic of 95% of people who fail their diet and continue to hate what they see in the mirror with zero zilch nada confidence, or you can follow this 8-step fat loss blueprint that's going to help you lose the weight, keep it off, and build a banging body that you feel damn good and naked. And I'm not just talking the quick fix, short-term fix, I'm talking the forever fix. Step 1. Calories. However you slice it and dice it, they will always drive the show. Let me introduce you to my girl, Susan. I know these results are jaw-dropping, but when Susan joined my team, she was frustrated AF. Her doctor had her doing keto, intermittent fasting, and eating 1,600 calories a day. But there was one problem here. It wasn't working. Her body was pissed off. She was inflamed. But more importantly, she could not stay consistent to said metrics, which resulted in Susan ending up in a place, like so many who come to me for help, where she was dieting mentally. She was not dieting physically. And this is honestly the most frustrating place to be in. Let me explain. I'm not discounting that Susan would go multiple days in a row hitting the protocol that her doctor gave her, but the weekend would roll around. She was hangry, she was miserable, her body was quite literally screaming at her. She put herself in and around food, she could not stay consistent to said metrics, and well, she ate like an asshole, which in turn would throw her out of a calorie deficit for the entire freaking week. Remember, calories always drive the show. Hence, doing the thing mentally, but not seeing any of the results physically. Frustrating AF when you get no return on the investment that you're putting into this. And this is exactly why most diets leave you stuck, frustrated, and spinning your wheels. You, girlfriend, cannot stay consistent to unrealistic metrics. So to figure out our calorie deficit, we're gonna have to do a couple things, but this is going to require you getting really open and honest with yourself. Girlfriend, you are gonna have to put your big girl panties on. A, we need to establish a goal. Do you really need to lose body fat? Or would you benefit more from body recomposition, which is going to require you adding muscle to your frame? I can tell you right now, if you only have 10 to 15 pounds to lose, you probably don't need to lose weight as much as you need to add 5 pounds of muscle to your frame to look visibly leaner, which is going to require a completely different strategy than fat loss. Remember, we're not chasing a number, we're chasing a look. And that look, A, weighs more than you think that it does, and B, is only going to be found in the phases when you are not dieting. Once we've nailed down our goals, we now need to establish a baseline caloric intake. This will require you to pull out the food scale, the tracking app, and getting really open and honest with yourself. I need you tracking every single thing that goes into your mouth for an entire week. Now is not the time to not eat the donut if you would typically eat the donut, because now all of a sudden you're tracking and you're embarrassed and you don't want to get honest with yourself. Accurate data is going to drive your success. And we're not so much looking for the day-to-day as much as we're looking for an average of your calorie intake and your protein intake. Once you have that average caloric intake, we need to create a calorie deficit from there. Start with a couple hundred calories and see how your body responds. But remember, we have to be able to stay consistent to this number. But here's the kicker. If calories are already on the lower end and we have to subtract from that number and you cannot stay consistent with that number, you, girlfriend, are not going to see the results that you want to see. This is tall tale sign number 1. You at this point need a strategic reverse diet. Remember, your results are going to be the byproduct of your consistency. That's why it's so important to be realistic with this number. And remember, just because calories start at one number doesn't mean they stay there. We may need to adjust them, strategically tear them down to continue to see results. However, one of the biggest mistakes I see is women who want to live in the diet. You can't stay consistent, down regulation happens, and your body stops responding in the same way. At some point, calories will have to normalize. A successful dieting phase has a start date and it has an end date, which brings me to step number 2. Adequate protein intake. This is a non-negotiable. Let's take a second to talk about my girl Paige. Can we say hello, body recomp? And what if I told you that this did not come from lowering calories, but simply increasing her protein amount? Eating enough protein allows us to sustain and maintain the muscle mass that you do have, as well as add muscle to your frame. The only way we can do this is with adequate protein intake daily. Let's chat amounts for your body. 0.7 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. The leaner you are, the closer to the full gram you need to be. If you have more than 50 pounds to lose, 0.7 to 1 gram of protein per pound of realistic goal weight. So if you're 150 pounds, you're going to aim for 105 to 150 grams of protein every single day. And I will die on this hill, but protein is not hard. You're honestly not prioritizing it. 8 ounces of chicken has 48 grams of protein. And here's the thing, if you struggle with protein, even as a vegetarian or a vegan, I have more free resources on this than I know what to do with in my private community, which is completely free and linked in my bio. But let's chat about some quick and easy ways that you can implement today to get more protein into your diet. Number 1, right out the gate, simply increase the amount of protein you're already eating. You guys, no more little bitch meals. 2 to 3 ounces of meat is not going to cut it. 7, 8 ounces. I promise you, 8 ounces of chicken really is not that much chicken. Tip number 2, incorporate more leaner cuts of meat. It is going to give you a bigger bang for your protein macro buck. Let me make something very clear. There is nothing wrong with fattier cuts of meat. However, if you struggle to get enough protein in, leaner cuts of meat are going to have more protein per serving than fats, which is a bigger bang for the serving size and the amount of food that you're already eating. Number 3, and I know this is not the sexy or glamorous side of fat loss, but please pre-track and pre-log. This is crucial to your success. Fail to plan to fail. And number 4, start earlier in the day. If you struggle to get enough protein in, you're going to want to make sure that your breakfast is loaded. There's nothing worse than trying to play catch up at the end of the day because you didn't eat enough at the beginning of the day. Which brings me to step number 3, sleep. So mother effing underrated. I mean, think about it. If your body's exhausted AF, do you think it's going to want to show up to do the damn thing? Probably not. Insert my girl, Jamie. Girlfriend works as an overnight nurse, which adds a layer of complexity to the situation. A huge piece of these results was us getting her sleep in check. This allowed us to regulate her circadian rhythm, give her more energy, and get her cravings in check. For better quality sleep, I know that this sounds simple, but I need you to prioritize it. Give yourself a bedtime and stick to it by following some sort of routine. Maybe you read for 15 minutes, followed by washing your face, and then it's lights out. Whatever that routine looks like for you, prioritize it. Turn your TV off, turn your phone on Do Not Disturb, and a cool, dark room makes all the difference in the world. Which leads me to step number 4, water. Drink your damn H2O. The majority of clients, when they come to work with us, are not prioritizing this, which means they're not getting enough water in. 80 to 120 ounces is fire. Shoot for somewhere within that range, but please, please, please meet yourself where you're currently at. If you're only averaging 16 ounces of water, move it up to 24. Master that. 32. Master that. 64. Master that. You get where I'm going at here. And please, don't get so caught up in the weeds on the exact amount. Use the p-test. We're looking for mellow yellow, not fluorescent yellow. If it's fluorescent, you probably need more water. If it's too clear, you might be drinking too much. Make your water more enjoyable. Put it in a fun cup, flavor it a little bit, but girlfriend, drink your damn H2O. It's going to help on the cellular level. It's going to help digestion. It's going to help keep your belly full. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Which leads me to step 5, which is quite literally steps. Walking is so underrated and is quite literally one of the biggest levers that we can pull when it comes to fat loss. Let's chat about my girl, Lisa. I know these results are jaw-dropping, and a big piece of these results was us prioritizing her step count. Fat loss is energy balance. We have to be burning more calories than what we're taking in, and there's 2 ways that we manage that energy balance: our input and our output. Most, when trying to lose weight, go right to decreasing their input instead of trying to increase their output. The whole goal is to be able to diet on as high as calories as possible. This is going to increase your chances of staying consistent to your calorie deficit, and it's going to allow you to feel better during the process. So, increasing our output before we take the route of decreasing our input is always a solid strategy. And please do not twist this with more excessive cardio. Steps, aka mindful movement, is a great way to increase our output without it being a massive stressor on the body. Moving your body more mindfully throughout the day is also one of the easiest ways to help sustain and maintain your results. But again, this is another meet yourself where you're currently at. If you're only averaging 4,000 steps a day, move that up to 4,500. Master that. 5,000. Master that. Ideally, we would love to fall somewhere in the 8,500 to 10,000 step range daily. The magic is not in that number. The magic is prioritizing and moving your body mindfully day in and day out. Remember, this is not something that we do when it's new or it's fun or it's exciting or it's convenient. This is something that we prioritize and we do daily, which leads me to step number 6. Strength training. Ladies, I need you lifting heavy shit multiple times a week and putting it back down. Can we talk about my girl Cami for a second? I mean, hello, booty gains. Her results are a byproduct of a properly built strength training program focused on progressive overload. If you noticed in her picture, there was only a 2-pound difference on the scale. This right here is the result of body recomp at its finest. And I'm going to say this again because this is another hill that I will die on. We are not chasing a number. We are chasing a look. And girlfriend, if you want a banging body that you feel damn good and naked, you will never diet and treadmill your way to your dream body. It's just not going to happen. You have to be strength training. And I may sound like a broken record, but again, meet yourself where you're currently at. If you're new to strength training, 3 full body days a week is going to work wonders for us. Follow a program designed around progressive overload, that 1% better mentality. And please make sure that you're tracking your training to ensure that you're getting stronger. We are not looking to confuse your muscles. We're looking for repetition. With repetition comes growth. One of my favorite things is when my girls come to me and they're like, oh, I'm kind of bored here. And I'm like, fire. Are we looking to be entertained or are we looking for results? Remember, we're looking for quality over quantity. We're looking to take muscle to failure. So a really good rule of thumb, a really good cue for you is the last 2 reps of whatever it is that's being programmed need to be a struggle. Curse my name underneath your breath, whatever the case may be, but it needs to be a challenge. So for example, if I've programmed a shoulder press for you and you're just flying through your reps and your idea of like, what's the big deal here? It's not heavy enough. It's not how many days you work out. It's not how long you work out. It's the intensity that you bring to your training that matters. And there's a big difference between this is really hard and true failure. You need to understand the difference. And I'm sorry, yoga, Pilates, F45 cannot replace a properly built strength training program focused on progressive overload. You can add them to, but you cannot replace. Which leads me to step number 7. The leaner you become, the more strategy that's required. And take this from the girl who's lost 100 pounds herself. What got me to my initial weight loss goal did not take me where I wanted to go body composition wise. Losing body fat requires a calorie deficit. We've talked about this. It's subtraction. The body that you're after requires muscle. That's addition. 2 very different concepts. Adding muscle to your frame at some point will require at least maintenance calories, if not a slight surplus. Your body needs the raw materials to do so. So if your mind is constantly in the eat less, move more mentality, this is exactly why you end up looking like a melted candlestick. You're skinny fat, which is just a smaller, bigger version of yourself. Nobody wants that. Muscle requires addition. End of story. You cannot stay stuck in the less is better mentality. More food, more strategic training, more recovery. And honestly, with a proper plan and strategy, this is when it gets fun. You're eating more food than you ever thought possible. Your training sessions are fire. You feel amazing. And you're watching your body transform right before your eyes. Which leads me to step 8, which is to not fall victim to the bullshit that influencers are pushing to pad their pocketbooks. And to learn about that, click this video and I'll see you there.